Hi, I'm Preston Williams, and welcome to another edition of Jazz Talk. Today on our show, we have a very special guest, and I'm so excited that she's on. She's been on the scene for over 40 years and has worked with many greats from Rufus Reid to Reggie Workman, Greg Osby, Billy Bang, and yes, Celia Cruz, to name a few. She is a Grammy Award-winning pianist, composer, and educator. Please welcome to Jazz Talk, Miss Michele Rosewoman.
Mr.
Welcome.
Hey, Mr. Preston. Good to see you, and thanks for
Oh,
having me.
it's so good to have you on. You know, you're one of my favorite musicians. And like I said, how I opened the show, Michele, you've been on the scene for quite a while. And I understand that you're originally from Oakland, California.
Yes, indeed. Born there and proud of it.
Yeah.
I think the Bay Area is the most, just California is a special place. It keeps proving itself, you know,
Amen to that. Amen to that.
politically speaking, ahead of the curve, and for me, a wonderful place to come up. And I've been here 42 years in New York, but Oakland and California in a lot of ways make me who I am.
Yes. Yes, without question. Now, I'm curious to know a little bit more about your humble beginnings, growing up, how you got involved in music. I know that you started playing piano at a very early age, but interested in knowing more about your family and your humble beginnings.
Okay, let's see. Well, my folks worked hard. They opened a record shop when I was about 4.
Hmm.
And my mother was a painter, artist, visual artist,
Yes.
kind of beginning in my very early years. And eventually, my father got into teaching. He wanted more than just running a music store. But
Hmm.
he was super smart, so it was good. He went on, he got his master's after 40 and whatnot, and started teaching. But I came up in a house full of, as I always say, music, art, and politics. We're very
Mm.
politically minded in the 60s in in the Bay Area, Oakland, and all that was going on. And I feel that those things shaped me a lot, the art, the music, and the political awareness and sense of importance and purpose of
Yeah.
of beyond oneself.
Yeah. Yeah. So you started playing piano at a very early age. I believe you were 6 or something like that.
Right. I always remember an old upright coming in through the garage into the house. And I also remember kind of coming out and peeking at it, just peeking every day, like, with joy. I just felt like something good was going to happen, right from the,
Mm.
and then it really felt like a gift, like a huge present. And I just, I messed with it a lot and messed around and, maybe was given the room just to do that, and eventually took some lessons, learned how to read and get around on the instrument, and
Mm.
then kept on with my personal explorations. I guess at the time I didn't know they were called improvisations, but that's what I was doing, and yeah, that was very much a foundation for me, the music and having a piano in the home by age
Yeah.
6.
Now, Michele, who were you listening to at that time, or what type of music was being played in your house? What did your parents expose you to?
Uh-huh. A lot of classic jazz, and Ella, Oscar, the things I remember, Duke Ellington, and a lot of calypso music and music from India, music from Africa, music from the mountains of Peru and Chile, just music that was kind of spiritually based, along with
Mm.
traditional jazz, and at a time where R&B and the music in the Bay Area was bursting, and so we listened a lot to R&B as well. And we had a good friend up the block who kind of disappeared, passed away, Lonnie Van Hook, that was a bass player. And the Whispers rehearsed at his house. My brother's also a keyboardist, organist. He ended up there a lot, jamming and playing. And a lot of that music really, it was just shaping me in ways that I didn't even realize, loving it, loving Stevie Wonder and Little Michael and Aretha and
Mhm.
a lot of the old, the Platters and the Dells and the Stylistics and the Temptations and all of that music. But I think vocal music and the voice has always really touched me. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think all of that was going on and seeping in.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to ask you about a very influential individual in your life who was great. How did you meet and hook up with the late Ed Kelly?
Oh yes, so I I auditioned to get in the music department at UC Berkeley because my that was what they wanted. My folks kind of saw me there. I think my mother, she had started school, hadn't graduated, or had to go on to do other things, and kind of hoped I would do it, you know.
Mm.
But I went there and try to make this a short story. That I auditioned, I improvised for my audition, and they did not accept me. And then I had to audition for even an ear training class. I auditioned as a music major, and they didn't accept me as music. So then I had to audition just to take an ear training or any music class, and that woman, she asked me why I wasn't going for a major, and when I told her I had and had not been accepted, she slammed her hand on the tape. She said, "I disagree." And next thing I knew, I got a call 3 days later. I was in, and 3 months later I was gone. I discovered that there was a vocational community free college with a music department and a big band that needed a piano player. So I went over and I auditioned, and it was the blues in F, and I could do that. I still didn't read chord symbols. I didn't really uh, know the written language, but my ear knew some things. So I auditioned and I got in as the piano player for the big band, or
Hmm.
maybe one of two. And I just spent a lot of time there, and the classes started too. But I didn't take classes there. At first, I just hung, and they started to interfere or intersect, and I would go from Laney Junior College in Oakland to my classes at UC Berkeley and ask questions related to where my excitement was, because at UC Berkeley it was only 16th to 18th century classical harmony,
Mm.
classical music and classical harmony. There was no really nothing honestly nothing that was interesting me. And I became a brunt of various jokes because of my questions and my interests and things like that. So I just faded on out and phased in at Laney. That's where I met Ed Kelly. I, I I was in the big band, and I took a semester of harmony. And then I took a second semester of harmony. I never registered. I never got credits. I just wanted to be there. And
Yeah.
and it was a beautiful hang. You know, I started playing a lot with R&B groups around Oakland. That was my first professional gigs with a group called God's Creation.